Hi guys, welcome back. Scatlink here, and we are off for what should sound like the finale of Spyro 3 Year the Dragon Reignited, if it weren't for the fact that we're still missing a couple of eggs and gems that we can't actually get until we take out the final boss of the game. Yeah, so we still have some stuff to do afterwards. I mean, like in the other two games, Spyro 1, Spyro 2, after we beat the final boss, we still actually have an additional area as like a reward, like with Spyro 2's Dragon Shores, or Spyro 1's Nasty's Loot. But we can't even access that unless we actually get the missing egg in Midnight Mountain, despite it already saying 100%, with all 5 eggs, so 400 gems collected and whatnot. But we're still missing 200 gems as well, so we can't even access that final portal. And plus, we have that spark sign, which should be unlocked once we beat the Sorceress. And that's what we're going to do now. So, it's finally time to take out the trash. So, there is only one way that we're going to have to face off with basically the final boss of the entire original trilogy. And that is make our entrance the exact same as how we enter levels in Spyro 1.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Time to kick some sorceress butt!
Yeah, that's all we wrote. Exactly. Now, of course, once again, as long as we don't move, the fight won't actually start, and that egg is just glowing. Yeah, no actual conversation between the Sorceress and Spyro. Just chucked right in. And before we get started, I'll just mention this right now. If you came straight in here without freeing Agent 9, Agent 9 would still be here to help you out. And if you actually beat this boss, Agent 9 will be free. Because Moneybags is gone. And yeah, because, you know, you've taken out his employer, which is the Sorceress. Thought I'd just say that out loud, mainly because that, you know, once you don't have to do any of the Midnight Mountain levels if you already have enough eggs to face the Sorceress, which is 100 eggs. Because we had that upon entry, because Bianca told us. Anyway, it's time for us to begin. I can't actually turn the camera. I have to start moving first. So her energy bar is now on screen. She can shoot projectiles at you, which you want to dodge. She doesn't lead her shots, she literally just swings her staff. But sometimes she will chase you down as well and give you a whack, so just be careful about that. Now, when we're walking around, you can see that there will be some cannons spawning from above. And once they land on the floor, because Agent 9 will shoot them down for you, they'll be not solid until you jump onto them, and he shoots them down, obviously. Now, if you hop off them, or use the limited ammo that they have, they will disappear. So you have to hop onto them when you get the chance. And once you hop onto them, Queen K. Rool will just run away, but you can only land one hit with each cannon before you're forced to, well, abandon ship, effectively. Plus, she takes about a couple of hits each, and every time that you hit her a couple of times, the cannons change type. Right now there's a bunch of fodder above, but funnily enough we don't actually need any of that fodder because we're still at max health with the star. Let's get back over here. Yep, and we got new tanks now. We actually have a hovercraft, on which we can actually drive around and snipe her with. And these shots don't arc, but she can knock you off if you're not careful. So I just like to get up in a grill and just spam, but for some reason that didn't actually knock her for a loop there, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, once you've done enough damage, you'll be immediately kicked off the cannons because they'll be swapped out for a different variant. Because she'll get more, well, she'll get more aggravated. That's the word. I was about to say agitated, that could also be the right word, but I was also going to say aggroed, and I guess that's also a correct term. It just it didn't flow well, like I was stuttering. It's fine. We need to get that egg. How long has that egg been on her staff? Because apparently she's had that when she banished the dragons, if you remember in that one cutscene. When Bianca was actually saying that how the dragons actually used to live in the Forgotten Realms, when she was talking to Hunter. Alright, so we're in the final part now. We're basically on little saucers that auto-fly themselves. And all you got to do is pretty much head her off and start sniping her. I didn't get a good shot on there because I just couldn't line the shot. That's fine. It would actually be nice if you could shoot down some fodder, Agent 9. They're just kind of floating there. Right, let's just do this. There we are, get in a grill. There, she missed me. Problem is, when you're flying toward the screen, it's actually kind of hard to see what you're doing. But here's a little tidbit while we're actually fighting her. Can I have some fodder, please? Agent 9, please. I need heals. Thank you. I'm going to go smack that at some point. There we are. But yeah, somewhere up there, like at the top of the screen, you'll be able to see in the original, on one of the towers, a portal, which is technically the portal that you use to... It looks like a sub-portal, but people theorize that's the portal that you use to fly through. But obviously it isn't. I don't actually know why it's a thing, but it's there. I can't actually see it in the in this version, but I think it's down that hallway. I mean, if I do another lap here, and I'll zoom it in, down that hallway. I think it's down there in the remake, but I obviously cannot see that. So, Agent 9, could you actually please shoot down a cannon? How did she hit me? She hit me before she swung. Excuse me? What was that? That was weird, and that was a collision. Right, so at least she's on the run, so I can go get some health. I could use a bit more. But yeah, maybe we can actually get through this. Well, maybe she does collision damage. I'm not too sure. Like, I need this. No, I need this. I'm going to die. Didn't grab it. Thank you. I couldn't charge into it. I wasn't at the right angle. Oh, feck. Every time I try to get a bit of fodder, I get hit. Jesus, that was close. That's a full one-up. That's a one-up. That's a full heal. That's awesome. I'm actually struggling a bit here, which is not good, but I've got full health again now, so I just need to wait until... Yeah, the problem is it's a waiting game, really. You just got to wait until Agent 9 provides you with the weaponry. And it's helpful if she runs away instead of standing her ground, because then you're able to hit her. And one more hit! I did actually hit her. It didn't register. She must have had invincibility frames. It's fine. But yeah, can we actually get through this entire episode without having a glitch? That would be very nice. There we go! Nailed it! Sorceress down! That's a gold trophy. And we got the egg. So yeah, that egg has just been harnessed all these years. And its name is George, of all things. You're alive after God knows how long. You've never been born until now. Oh dear. She's still hanging around, it seems.
Spyro, you've just defeated a sorceress, rescued the dragon eggs, and restored freedom to the lost dragon worlds. What you plan to do next, hmm? Perhaps a nice vacation in Dragon Shores, hmm?
You're a real comedian sometimes, Bentley. You know, I still have to find the rest of the dragon eggs. Plus, Hunter seems to have disappeared again, so I should go make sure he's not in more trouble. You haven't seen him, have you?
What? Me? Oh, no. If I do happen to encounter him, however, I will most certainly inform you immediately.
That was a bit fishy.
It's a funny thing, Spyro. I adjusted Avalar's portals to take me to the Dragon Worlds, but somehow I ended up here. Maybe my coordinate tables are out of date.
Yeah, by 1,000 years.
That would explain why the book was so cheap.
So now that you're done saving the world again, are you gonna visit me in Avalar?
Sure, Laura, but I still have to find the rest of the eggs, and, well, Hunter's disappeared again.
Did you say Hunter? Well, hey, I can help. I just saw him sneak off with him. Agent 9, isn't that a Rhinoc over in those bushes?
Rhinoc? Ooh, let me at him. You want a piece of me, Rhinoc boy? 8 laser punk? Come on now. No fair hiding.
I'm sure Hunter is in good hands. I mean, I'm sure he will turn up soon.
Promise you'll come visit Avalar soon, okay?
We finally get to see Alora! And isn't this your lab, Professor? How did you just end up here?
Now, how many times have I told you not to taste that moose?
It was Billy's idea. Yeah.
Screw you, Billy!
Is that true, Billy? Hold that thought, Billy. Spyro, great to see ya.
Hi, Sheila. I've been looking for Hunter all day. Have you seen him?
Sorry, Spyro. Hunter made me promise not to tell you where they went.
They?
You didn't hear anything from me.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
No one can keep a secret, can they? All you gotta say is no. Yep. Fireworks factory. They actually got together. And this is a good cutscene.
It's a sad sight, Sparks. Another noble warrior falls victim to the plague of love. Just look away. Well, I guess we'll have to find the rest of the eggs by ourselves.
Come on, Spyro, take a little break. Let's watch the show.
Yeah, you can talk, you're hanging out with Alora. At least she finally showed up. Yep, Sparks, you didn't do your job, you wound me up last episode. And yes, well, obviously we're not done with Spyro 3 in general, but we did beat the final boss, and even the cutscenes themselves say that we're not done yet. I mean, we've still got 200 gems to get, we've still got 3 eggs to get. Well, 2 eggs now, because we got an egg from the Sorceress. And of course, as I've said already, this is the same credit sequence with the same art style from Spyro 1, Reignited, used for pretty much the entire trilogy. So, there's not really much new here, but up to this point, I think what I'm going to say for now are my thoughts on Spyro 3, and when we have our next credits roll, or during the bonus episode covering the entire trilogy as a whole, for, you know, the bonuses that are part of the actual Reignited trilogy, is that I'm going to talk about my thoughts on Spyro 3 Reignited during these credits. So, first of all, the graphics are once again stunning. Once again, the frame rate's a little bit stuttery. Yes, we got the patch just shortly after beginning this particular part of the trilogy, because, admittedly, it has taken forever for me to get through these 3 games, but, you know, life, work and such get in the way and all that. Can't help that. But it has still taken me a lot longer to get through these games than I originally thought. That's why we haven't done more of the Zuda yet, because we just haven't had the time. Because, like, you know, we normally dedicate, like, a whole recording session to that, and we just haven't been available, so that's a thing. But anyway, back to this. We got a patch that pretty much, you know, fixed game-breaking bugs, mostly during Spyro 3, so we didn't bump into any of those, but there are still so many bugs that need a patch. It took too long for that patch to come through, and it's been like, what, 2 months, 3 months later, and ever since we entered Evening Lake, every single episode, I mean, I can't say right now, during this, about glitches and whatnot, because most of it's just been like, oh yeah, Sparks doesn't grab a gem, and that's been happening since Spyro 1 in Peacekeepers, but it just keeps happening. Sparks doesn't pick up gems. Characters just poof out of nowhere without any effect. It's just insane. It's just little things, but they just keep happening, and it hampers the experience. Especially like in the last episode in Dino Mine, which, you know, it's kind of a pun on Dynamite, I didn't actually mention that. But it's like, I destroyed that cactus, the gem was there, Sparks didn't pick it up, I try to walk into it, I accidentally walk off the edge, try to save myself, bonk on the edge and fall, lose a life, break the cactus again, but then Sparks grabs the gem. Normally, if he doesn't pick up the gem, he just outright doesn't pick up the gem. He just decided not to pick up that gem, and then after I lose a life because he didn't pick up the gem, he then grabs the gem out of spite. It's like, that was a new one, because that was like the usual not picking up a gem glitch that we've been having, that he just ignores gems, but then he decides to get it after I fail to grab it myself. I mean, did the gem somehow land in the floor so he couldn't grab it a bit? Like, just a tad? I don't know. It's weird. And like I said, we had the problem with the whale. We had a problem with, like, enemies clipping, like, through the wall to get me through a cheap little snipe. The hitboxes of the rocks in Haunted Tomb. It's characters disappearing, like, out of nowhere, without any effect, or I talk to them, then they just spent the camera bugging out. Again, the whale, it's like, what was going on? Why was I bumping into a glitch? Literally every episode. That is not an exaggeration. It was every episode. And I've said this many a time as well. The original Spyro 3, the original black box release of Spyro 3 on the PlayStation 1 was a bit buggy, to say the least. I mean, the soundtrack was the most biggest issue, because some music tracks were in the game, they just never played, or they got them wrong. Like, the final boss music that we hear during fighting the Sorceress, that can play in the first hub world as soon as you boot up the game, in the original. It's like, which is like Sunrise Spring, and yet in Sunrise Spring, the music for Sunrise Spring that should play in Sunrise Spring plays during the Sorceress. Somehow they got that wrong. And not just the soundtrack, but there was like other glitches as well, but most of those you had to go out your way, or, you know, when it came to, like, for example, Honey Speedway, if you don't do all of it at once, like, which includes Hunter mostly, if you don't do Hunter on your first visit, and that's if Hunter is even available, if you ignore Hunter's mission in Honey Speedway, then you come back, Hunter for whatever reason doesn't spawn and you can't get that egg. It's permanently locked out. You're locked out on beating the game 117%. Actually, no, you're locked out on getting 100%, because you need 100% to access that portal, because that's all 149 eggs, and 15,000 gems, which we're still lacking on. So, yeah, you know, it's that kind of an issue. And then I talked about, you know, Fireworks Factory, where after the patch, if you had grabbed all the gems in that level already, after the patch was applied, when we were going through Cloud Spires, which, to be honest, was not much to talk about, which is why I was talking about the patch mostly in that one, was it actually fixed one of the gems that could be permanently lost, but if you had already grabbed it, it respawns it anyway, so then you have like 5 additional gems above your maximum. It didn't happen to me, because I didn't make it to I didn't clear out Fireworks Factory before the patch, because remember, that's the third hub world. We was doing the first hub world when the patch came out. But when my brother and my mates played the game, and they got there, well, they already got past there before the patch came out. But when they went back, so they could do Agent 9's thing, or when they went back just to like explore the level, because it is one of the best levels in the game in terms of aesthetics, that gem was there, and they had 5+ gems above the maximum. That didn't happen to me, thankfully. That's one glitch that did not happen to me, which ironically is caused by the patch. But it's only if you already had all the gems in the level before the patch. So that in itself needs to be fixed, because, you know, you have 117.1% effectively. I mean, it's not enough gems to increase the percentage, but, you know, just for the sake of saying so, you have literally more than what the game's maximum of 117% is, because you have 5 more gems above the max. And I know I'm just talking about mostly the glitches that we've experienced during the Reignited remake of Spyro 3, but it was insane! I can't stress it enough. They need to be fixed. There needs to be another patch. And it has mostly been Spyro 3. Spyro 2 had a couple, but again, it was mostly Sparks not picking up gems. And I only had a couple of times in number 1. Yes, I had a lot of problems with momentum, but that's just the game's physics of what the game was built, that the remake was built upon. You can't really fix that. I don't know. It's weird. It's just, I don't know how to feel about the remake of Spyro 3. I mean, a lot of people said that it was that the remade soundtrack wasn't exactly the best. I mean, I didn't have many qualms with it. I left it running throughout the entirety of the trilogy. But that's mainly because I used the original soundtrack for the end cards at the end of the videos. Because why not? But at the same time, I didn't have a problem with the soundtrack. At least the soundtrack was based off of the PS1 re-releases, like the PAL Platinum re-releases, or, you know, the, the green box label version of, in the NTSC American version. Yeah, so that's a thing as well, so... But yeah, as I said, we're not done yet. We still got other stuff to do. We've got a Sparks level still, which means another upgrade that we haven't got yet, which is... Well, I say another upgrade that we haven't got yet, but if you're playing a Reignited version, again, it's kind of minimized. But there is still something you get out of it in the Reignited version. But you get more worth in the original, but that's only because, you know, it was more of a quality of life add-on that you have it by default throughout the entirety of the trilogy, which obviously I'll get to when we get there. But yeah, that's, it's, I don't know, it's like, I mean, not only that, but I actually had to go back to the original release of Spyro 3 more times than I thought I'd had to compare things. And even then, when I remember something being something in the original, I actually blew up the original, and it is actually what it is in the remake. Like it was with, oh, what was it? Spooky Swamp. With the rocks with Sheila, they should respawn on the original PS1 version, only in the black box version apparently, according to my copy, because mine's a PAL Platinum copy. The rocks don't respawn, and I remember them respawning. But then, you know, I look up footage online of other PS1 versions, could be NTSC only, I'm not too sure, but the rocks respawned for those people, which is why I put it as like a card link in that video. So that was confusing. But yeah, Agent 9, now that's a thing. I'll talk about the characters, because like I said, the graphics are good. It's just like, it's just the little glitches that really hamper the experience, because they keep happening. And that jankiness with the whale was the most biggest problem. But let's get to the actual, like, characters. Sheila, I actually like her redesign. She does feel a little bit sluggish in comparison, but she also feels a little bit more tighter in terms of movement, because the only way you can move in the original is that you would only be able to turn after she's done a hop. So if you wanted to move just a tad, you would push the button a bit, she would do a hop, but you have to wait for her to do the whole hop before she would turn around. In this one, you can actually just keep on moving while she hops around. Maybe that's why she's a little bit slower, so it's easy to maneuver. But I like the voice, I like the design, I've got no qualms with it at all. James Bird, he's just as good as in the original, if not better, because you can actually strafe without turning the camera, because the camera's to the right analog stick, which I still don't understand why the original trilogy couldn't do that, because I'm pretty sure after Spyro 2, or after Spyro 1 even, the DualShock was a thing, and you can still move properly with an analog stick. So I don't understand why they couldn't use the right analog stick. Bentley, okay, there are some problems. He doesn't seem to have as good as of a reach with his club, but the hitbox is also a little bit weird. And the camera can be a little bit off-putting as it's over the shoulder, especially when you got to like do that whack-a-mole game, because you can't have a decent field of view, even though it does zoom it out just a tad bit more. If it was centered while that game was going on, that would probably be a bit better, but then you can't see what's in front of you because he's so big. So it's understandable why they did that. They just had to work with his redesign, which I'm fine with his redesign. In the original, he just looked like a big blob. Don't know about the voice. The voice acting is just as good. I can't decide which I like better, if that makes sense. Even though he does have a little bit more of energy in the remake. Now, Agent 9. Agent 9 is like the best one out of all of them. Which, by the way, I must mention that with all the other characters we actually don't play as anymore, including Hunter. The only character that we can now play, that we're going to be playing onwards, is actually Sparks. Which Sparks, same controls, doesn't feel any different, even though it might be a bit of a delay locking your direction so you can strafe. That's the only problem. But go back to Agent 9. He's been completely rebuilt. He's a twin-stick shooter character now, and he doesn't move that sluggish. He's fast, he's snappy, he's accurate. It works, and it's like in the original, he was slow, he was clunky. Wherever you moved, he would face. You couldn't strafe easily, and yeah, it was also very awkward to shoot. In the Reignited trilogy, it was like a dream. It like actually made people like Agent 9 more, and because, you know, he's a very fast, energetic, moving character, even though, you know, you had like that stretchiness from the original PS1 days on the original, that was like the only character that felt restricted from like the graphics design. He felt really restricted and couldn't like emote well. I mean, his voice acting delivery is pretty good. I mean, it's the same voice actor on both versions. But in the Reignited trilogy, he has a lot more energy behind the voice acting, because it goes well with how the character actually moves. But the way that he draws out, like, certain lines, in the original, people would prefer over it. But the thing is, it's the same guy. So I think, like, he would try, if he was going to do anything, he's actually made it work with, like, the fast acting character, like, design that the Reignited trilogy has given him, like the redesign of both controls as well as how he's animated during the cutscenes, especially when you free him. That, like I said, I prefer that cutscene leagues ahead of the original. It's like that is definitive. The only problem is, again, a glitch. Why did the models pop in after the fade-in? Like, right after the fade-in happens, all the models loaded in. The whole point of a fade-in is so that, you know, when the screen is black, all the models load in, and then when the game fades in, they're all in place. You don't fade in first and then everything pops in. That's like not to, you know, knock literally every single name on this credits crawl, because it is mega huge, as I've said many a time. But seriously? That's like a beginner's error. I mean, even I've made that mistake before on my Sega Blacksmith RPG Maker game, and that was mainly just to test to see if I could actually make a full working game based off of something that I know, and see if I can convert it into a top-down RPG. Like, in Final Fantasy style. And I did! I just had to do a lot of revisions while actually covering the project, because I made a few changes, but I didn't playtest it, and in a way, that was a playtesting kind of commentary, walkthrough, And if I had problems, I fixed it, I uploaded the fixed version, and I continued on that way. So, in a way, that was more of an experimental thing that I had to do. But, I mean, this is, you know, Toys for Bob, this is, I forget the, other people that actually helped make, yeah, these guys, Quality Assurance, saying that, actually. I mean, I can't remember the actual company, I forgot where the logo is. But they were obviously outsourced to help out with Year of the Dragon, which probably didn't help in terms of, like, you know, quality assurance itself. And like I said, these are very minor bugs. The game is still functional, it still plays. But, you know, they're noticeable. It distracts. And look how many people they had for quality assurance. It's like, quality assurance submissions. I'm not trying to be rude, it just boggles the mind that you have this many names. But then again, as I've said before in Spyro 2, which, you know, the glitches were not as much then. It's like, with this many names, there must be something that's going to slip through the cracks, because that is a lot of people to, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, they're doing it in certain categories, so most names are probably listed multiple times. So you know who worked on what, so there probably is a lot of multitasking going on. But regardless, with this many names, you would think that, you know, nothing can get through the cracks, but they were rushed by Activision to get the game out, which is why, you know, the patch reduced the game's file size by almost half, because it went from 65.5 gig to about 36.3 or something. And yeah, that's the thing. It's like, obviously they didn't have enough time to properly compress the game, so they just had to release it uncompressed, and that's why they couldn't slap the whole thing on the disc. But, you know, Activision wanted the game out physically, and, you know, 2/3 of the physical isn't actually physical. It's like, Activision again, shot themselves in the foot by rushing the developers that were putting their heart and soul into the game. I don't blame them, I blame Activision. And it just rushed it. And and if you remember, well, before, you know, the Reignited trilogy got announced, they didn't make it clear that they weren't going to announce it during that Crash Bandicoot live stream, because that's what everyone was expecting considering what they were saying. But then they said, oh, the announcement isn't actually an announcement. It's like, what? And it confused everybody, and it was like, are you just trolling us at this point? I like how I have to keep going back. I mean, that probably popped up in the card or something, because I talked about that, which is funny, because right after we talked about that, they actually revealed the trailer and stuff, and it was good. And it's funny as well, because, you know, the first game is the only game on the disc, but that had the most polish, and then further down, it just felt more rushed, and there was more glitches slipping through the cracks. But yeah, it's like, with that many people, not only is there, like, you may not think that things will get through the cracks, but with that many people, you could also think there could be some miscommunication going on. So it could be both ways. But I still commend these guys for doing an excellent job. I mean, it still brings the game to new players on current hardware, and you know what? We still haven't had a Switch version. I'm just saying that right now. I mean, maybe they want to actually get all the stuff actually ready before they do that, so let's just hope. Wish these guys the best, but please, Activision, don't rush them. Let them do what they need to do, and it will be a better product, I swear. And there's our egg. So, if you guys have joined us from the credits, I was pretty much talking throughout the entirety of the credits there, so if my voice is a bit hoarse, that might be why. But, yeah, I was mostly just talking about the characters, the redesigns, the new controls for Agent 9, which are all positives, but then there was the glitches. But then, when I was mentioning that, like, the quality assurance were quite testing, there was a lot of names, but, you know, could slip through the cracks, but at the same time, with that many people, how would it? But then it's, like, rushing and all that. Of course, if you guys already watched the credits and heard me say all this, I'm repeating myself. But yeah, we're not actually done yet, as we've mentioned already multiple times. Because, well, we still have an egg here, and now we can actually do the level with Sparks. But I think we'll leave that for another episode, because, you know, that credits itself as well as the boss took a little bit of a while, because I had to wait a bit. But hello! Moneybags is here. Hello, buddy. Egg for sale, huh? Well, considering that the Sorceress is gone, I'm guessing you're trying to make a big quick buck before you get away. I'll want that egg, good sir.
Don't worry, Spyro. I won't be needing any more of your money. Now, don't look so surprised. I found one of the dragon eggs, and I'm going to sell it for a fortune back at Avalar. Uh-oh. Why are you looking at me like that? I've got to be going now. Toodles!
That's my egg, you dickbag! Come back here! Give me all my gems back and give me that egg! I will clean you dry! I will wring all this money out of you before you sell that egg. Yes, we finally get our comeuppance from this arsehole. This greedy whore who has been extortionate, especially during the Midnight Mountain levels. Literally, bullshit reasons to pretty much charge us an extortionate amount of money just to get through the areas to get the dragon eggs. And now he's stealing a dragon egg and is intending to sell it back in Avalon. I mean, you're not going to get far. I can easily get back there through Dragon Shores. You're going to get hunted one way or another. You shouldn't have announced that. You know I'm going for the eggs. So, you know what? I'm going to rob you clean. Give me that egg. I'm actually ramming him so many times. This is unreal. I'm actually overtaking him sometimes. Look at this. I'm literally just continuously ramming him. I'm actually overtaking him. In the original, you can't normally do that. But I guess because of momentum, when I hit him, he slows down and I just keep whacking him up the bum. Take these two horns up the ass. Right, we're getting there. We're almost at the maximum money. I keep knocking him around. Look at all this money. It's just flowing into my wallets. And he actually got stopped by a fodder. Are you serious, my boy? That don't normally happen. He got stopped by a fodder. He only got away because I killed him by accident. Dude. That's a new one, even for you! I mean, I'm pretty sure they can't get stopped in the original by fodder. I think they just push them out of the way, but that's probably just due to momentum-based physics. Wow, look how much money we've made back already. You know what would be a very nice touch? If his money bag actually got smaller and, like, as we're whacking the gems out of it, and when we're paying him, it gets bigger. Because it stays the same size, so it's like, why does he even have that money bag? Maybe it's because that's his name. The bear is just... The bag is the real enemy. The bear is just a puppet. What is this, Majora's Mask? When the Skull Kid's being controlled? Give me my money! Now, where's that egg? Oh, I almost walked off the side there. If you do void out, he'll still be here until you clean him out. So, don't worry. You'll get him eventually. Come on! And there he is.
Drat! Double drat! Drat, 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 drat! I never knew dragons were so fast! That's it! I give up! I'm retiring to Spooky Swamp to become a haiku poet.
I thought you said you were bored of speaking haiku. Ow. Seems legit. Thank you for the egg, kind sir. You may leave the premises and run straight into Crystal Islands for some reason. Yeah, he does that in the original as well. I guess they had to find some way to despawn him. But yeah, Crystal Islands? That doesn't go to Spooky Swamp. Yeah, he could have just said, I'm going to go to Crystal Islands and become a wizard or something. Could have easily said that. Would have made more sense. But you know what? Screw it. We're going to do the Sparks level as well. Because, you know, we always normally do, like, the bonus level at the end after beating the boss. And that was only one egg. So, because if you did skip the credits, that would be a pretty short video for you guys. So, we're going to do it.
Just before you kicked the sorceress's big, fat, ugly butt,
Whoa.
She built a factory to make robotic bugs. They're meant to fight Sparks, but I don't think they're any match for him.
That was savage. To both the bugs and to the sorceress. Dare I say a sick burn. Alright, so let's get into this. The final Sparks world. Okay, so this is the fourth and only time that we get to play as Sparks in this game. Which, you know, if you want your Sparks fix, they actually did bring his gameplay back for the Game Boy Advance games, actually, which I've never played. So that actually does make me excited. I mean, I've seen a gameplay of a whole Let's Play of Season of Ice, I think it was called, the first one, by Exo Paradigm Gamer. And, yeah, I mean, I was interested. Apparently it's not the best of the Spyro GBA games, but, you know, if I could probably track a couple of the copies down, I wouldn't mind playing that. You know, if I know what I'm doing, I might even do Let's Plays of them myself, but, you know, I actually got to play the games first, so. Oh, look at that crab. He's trying to get away with the key. You know what? No, that's not working. Yeah, this is what I meant when I was saying during the credits. Like, I keep trying to lock my position as Sparks, but I keep, like, not doing it at the right angle that I need it. It's, like, a little bit late. There we are. Oh! Wait, am I supposed to actually charge into this guy because he's, No, I just got to knock him away from the key. There we are. Yeah, because I'm pretty... Yeah, because like I said during the tutorial, you're not supposed to charge into enemies. It's just that one enemy during the tutorial teaches you how to charge, and you have to kill him with a charge. But you can't kill enemies with charge, with a charge as sparks. You take damage, so I never understand why they did that was part of the tutorial. Oh, invincibility. I can just tank hits. But yeah, as I've said before, because now we're actually playing as Sparks again since the previous Sparks level where we got an extra hit, we're not actually able to, you know, take an extra couple of hits. Because as you notice here, Sparks' health is technically at maximum, according to the bar, but Sparks visually doesn't have the star. Because Zoe did say, Sparks can take one additional hit for Spyro, not for himself. So instead of getting 2 additional hits when you're playing a Sparks on his own, you still have the general 6 hits, excuse me, instead of 8. Which is a shame, because it would be nice if he could take the hits for himself, but it is dragon magic, and he needs to be with an actual dragon to trigger it, and Spyro does have most of the eggs, so that does actually make a lot of sense. Zoe does explain it as such. So it's still a bit of a shame though, since it's an ability for Sparks, you would like it to, you know, actually give him the ability to eat the hits for himself. But nope, we still only have 6 hits with Sparks, which, you know, I don't think you need an additional 2 hits unless you're really gung-ho. But at that point, it's only going to be useful for 1 level anyway, so maybe that was just unnecessary code and scaling with the energy bar just to do it. I mean, they would also, I mean, it would be easy enough to just add, you know, a star onto Sparks when he's yellow in the HUD, but, because, I mean, he's changed to blue in the HUD now since he's at his blue stage of health. So, I don't know. It's a little bit weird. It's something that they could have done. I mean, even in the original, but they didn't, so fair enough. I mean, that could have been an... Oh, bloody hell, I got comboed there. Even when I was using the spray. What the heck? That's not good. Just got 2 hits immediately. Right, so can't go that way. We need to go down. Yeah, but this is a very robotic-looking area. And I kind of like the aesthetic. I mean, in this version, the remake, these neon pipeways, like, make the corridors different colours, like, giving you, like, visual stages of progression, and I kind of like it. Oh! Don't cross the shots, and I'm actually getting wrecked here. I'm gonna flee. Right, let's flee. Kinda need health right now. I think I bypassed a butterfly earlier. And I would prefer to not die. Just saying. Did I leave a fairy? Yeah, I keep saying fairy. I don't know why I say fairy. It's because that, you know, Legend of Zelda, I like Zelda, so fairies heal you. But no, fairies give you checkpoints in this game. They're butterflies, you moron. Get it right. I've noticed that I've been saying that, like, even during editing, and I'm like, no, it's not a fairy, it's a butterfly. But I keep making that mistake. I actually want to use this. There we are. Should have done that to begin with. Right, let's try and fly this way and take out this spawner. Yeah, I like how when the spawners are actually their own enemies, gives them a little bit more of a challenge than just trying to, you know, get through the horde and snipe them. You actually got to, like, strafe and fight it like it's an actual enemy. Wait, get away from that, that's mine. Thank you. That's all the gems already. It's a good thing I did it. So that means we now have all the gems in the game. 15,000 over 15,000, and we only have 1 egg left to get, which is to shut down the factory. You know what? Let's get it. It's a scorpion. No, not scorpion, a centipede. In fact, if I do that, that would just absolutely decimate him. Look at that. Nope. I ran out of shots. Yeah, this is kind of pathetic. He's quite easy. I mean, his other body parts do split off if you hit too many times in the middle. He does tend to split off, and then you gotta, like, have 2 heads to deal with, because they're the only things that shoot you. But he can only shoot you if he's facing directly at you, but he can't strafe because of how he is. So, oh, he's onto me. He's onto me! There we are. Let's do a couple of pot shots. There we are. I'm getting there. Would be nice if I had another power-up at the moment. But I can only take 1 more hit before the next hit will kill me. Oh, jeez. Okay, wait, can I actually shoot his projectiles? Oh, I forget, I have to actually hit the head. I'm taking the rest of the body out, which is fine. Come on. Alright, they're so small now, it's actually quite hard to hit them. There, that one's gone. Couple more hits on this guy, and he's out. He's actually just hugging the edges of the level. Or he just did a 180. Cheeky. I'd still prefer if this was twin stick. Just saying. Annabelle! With debugging. We pretty much got all the trophies in the game, I believe. There we go. Pie like it's 2024. We actually got all the trophies in the game without having to get any in the bonus episode because, as I said, pretty much all of them you get alongside doing all of the, like, basically doing the game 100%. I like how the bugs, like, on the top there actually watch us and they don't join in on the fight. It's pretty cool. It's a bit of a shame that I haven't got a lot of health, but with that, we are done with Sparks. We have now got pretty much 100%, all 149 eggs, all 15,000 gems. We're now able to go into that portal that was sealed off in the distance of Midnight Mountain that we passed many a time. What lies beyond that? Well, we're going to be doing that in the next episode. But as a reward for actually completing the final Sparks world, we don't get told.
Remember, Sparks can break open treasure chests. And using the guidebook, warp you to any level you want.
Okay, that was a bit weird. She didn't say anything. I pressed forward on the control stick, and then she started to talk to me. I guess, I mean, that was very minor, but at least she actually said something this time, because if you remember, in Midday Gardens, she didn't say anything, and it wouldn't even let me press triangle. Here, however, she did have something to say, but for whatever reason, she didn't tell me immediately. I had to literally take a minute step forward to trigger her dialogue. So, at the very end of this video, we still get a glitch. God damn it. Very, very small, but yeah, that's a thing. But yes, as she says here, Sparks can now open treasure chests. Even though she didn't actually say anything, she just said it like a reminder. Remember, Sparks can open treasure chests, so if there's any pots or, you know, any or baskets, you don't have to smash them anymore. Sparks will just fly into it and smash it. Which, as I said before earlier on, Sparks may not be picking up certain gems that come out of certain obstacles, mainly because that Sparks may be registering those gems as Stu being inside something, and that's why he can't go for them. Now there's no excuse, but there's no more gems to pick up. Bit of a problem. That's why I said that in the Reignited version it might be worth to go getting it early, and especially in the original, because you can actually warp with the guidebook, which, you know, you can actually do at any time in the Reignited trilogy, like throughout all 3 games. That was an ability that's only introduced at the end, after you beat the final boss of Spyro 3 in the original. It wasn't in the original Spyro 1 or the original Spyro 2, but in the entirety of the Reignited trilogy, it was added as a quality of life update, or, you know, change, because it was part of the base build of the Reignited trilogy. And yeah, it's just a little bit weird as well, because, you know, we've had that ability since the start of Spyro 1 Reignited, yet Zoe still feels like she has to remind us that we can do that in the Reignited version. Yet she doesn't remind us that we can search with Sparks in, you know, after doing Midday Gardens, which is the power-up that you would get in the original, but because you start with it at the entirety of the trilogy, because right now I'm clicking in the left analog stick to search with Sparks, but since there's no gems, he's not going for it, that, you know, you would think that Zoe would at least mention it, like I said before when we did that level, the second Sparks level, but she doesn't. She doesn't have any dialogue whatsoever, which is why I clipped in the original footage from the original game. But here, she says it anyway, and it's another inconsistency, so it doesn't make sense to me. But enough about complaining about inconsistencies and yet telling you, like, how to do one thing that you already have for the entire trilogy, but not something else, and doesn't even give you the option to talk to her after you do it, which is very odd, so I had to clip in the original footage. We're pretty much done! Except for the fact that we have this portal here, the super bonus round. That's why I've been chilling here while we're talking about, you know, that little mishap that once we beat that. Getting that 1 egg gave us an additional 11% to Midnight Mountain. That's a bit insane. But we are even though that says 111%, that's technically part of 100%. Even though that's like 1 above. I mean, it's kind of like saying Donkey Kong 64. Having 6 out of 5 golden bananas for Tiny in DK Isles is part of 100%. No, that additional banana is the 101%. But no, this 111 on Midnight Mountain is part of the 100%, which is a little bit weird. But it's like that in the original as well. So, we have, funnily enough, all the trophies, including the platinum. So we don't need to worry about that for the bonus episode. And that means there's also no more trophies to worry about as we go on through the super bonus round. So it's like the only level that we don't have a trophy. Well, it's actually a level that we don't have a skill point either, because we got all the skill points from Dino Mines. So, yeah. With 149 out of 149 eggs, and out of 1,500 out of 1,500, 15,000 out of 15,000 gems. I can't numbers. And I just got a 1-up for full health recovery, which is nice, because we came out with green from the last Sparks level. All the abilities. All the characters. In the next episode, we start the super bonus round. See you guys then.